I, Vanessa, have always been the black sheep of my family. My twin sister, Selena, was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. Even as kids, my parents made their favoritism painfully obvious. Whenever we got gifts, she got the first pick. Whenever there was a decision to be made, her choice reigned supreme. If I ever protested, I was labeled selfish and ungrateful. Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin. By the time we reached middle school, Selena and I were practically strangers living under the same roof. She left our childhood friends behind to join the popular crowd, and I was relieved. The less I had to deal with her, the better. But the final nail in the coffin came when it was time for college applications. I had worked tirelessly on my essays, pouring my heart and soul into them. I was confident in my chances. But when the acceptance letters arrived, I was rejected, while Selena got in. Something felt off. I snooped around and, to my horror, discovered that she had stolen my essay and submitted it as her own. I was furious. I knew my parents wouldn't believe me, or worse, would tell me to just let it go. So I took matters into my own hands. I reported her plagiarism to the university, providing proof that the essay was mine. The school blacklisted her immediately. When my parents found out, they were furious, not at Selena for stealing, but at me for ruining her future. They yelled at me for days, blaming me for her downfall. That was the moment I realized I was truly alone. When I left for college, I went low contact with my parents and cut Selena off completely. To me, she was dead. College was a fresh start. I met amazing friends, built a life of my own, and, most importantly, met Nathan. He was everything I had ever wanted: kind, supportive, and understanding. He came from a loving, tight-knit family, the kind I'd always longed for. Nathan and I were friends for years before we started dating. When he proposed after 4 years together, I thought I had finally found my happily ever after. Planning the wedding was a challenge, especially when we got to the guest list. I wanted a small, intimate ceremony with only close friends. Nathan, however, insisted I invite my family. I told him repeatedly that I was no contact with my parents and wanted nothing to do with Selena. But he didn't understand. His family was perfect, so he couldn't comprehend a world where parents weren't a part of their child's wedding. He pushed, and I reluctantly agreed to invite my parents, but only them. Selena was strictly off limits. I warned him not to contact my family behind my back, and he promised he wouldn't. A week before the wedding, my parents called, saying they had a gift for me and wanted to meet. I was hesitant, but Nathan convinced me to go, saying he'd be with me the whole time. When we arrived, my heart dropped. Selena was there. It was an ambush. My parents wanted a family reconciliation right before my wedding. I was furious. I stood up to leave, but Nathan hesitated. He told me to stay and talk. I stormed out, checked into a hotel, and turned off my phone. When I finally turned it back on the next day, I expected calls and messages from Nathan. But there was nothing. He had ghosted me. Days passed and still no word. A week later, the day of our wedding, I canceled everything. Then 2 months later, I found out the truth. Nathan had married Selena on our wedding day. It felt like I was living in a nightmare. The betrayal was unimaginable. The man I loved, the man I had trusted with everything, had abandoned me at the altar for my twin sister. I spiraled into depression. It took me an entire year to rebuild my life, to claw my way back from the darkness. I cut off all ties with my parents and refused to acknowledge Selena's existence. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from Nathan's mother, Diane. She was in tears, begging to meet. I wanted nothing to do with them, but curiosity got the best of me. When I met Diane, she told me everything. After I left that night, my parents and Selena fed Nathan lies about my childhood. They twisted the truth, making it seem like I was the problem, like I had abandoned them for no reason. Nathan believed them. Then, when I canceled the wedding, he thought it was proof that they were right. He panicked, and my parents convinced him to marry Selena to avoid embarrassment. They told him he could annul the marriage later. His family begged him not to go through with it, but he ignored them. He was too ashamed to face the scandal of being left at the altar. Now, a year later, Selena had finally admitted everything. In a drunken confession, she told Nathan the truth, that she had stolen my essay, that she had manipulated him, that everything he believed about me was a lie. He was devastated. He hadn't been home in days, refusing to speak to Selena. Diane told me he was desperate to talk to me, to explain himself. I told her no. Nathan made his choice. He let my parents and Selena manipulate him instead of trusting me, the woman he was supposed to marry. Now he was trapped in a marriage with someone he despised, and he wanted me to save him. I wasn't going to. I blocked Diane. I blocked Nathan. I erased that part of my life completely. He betrayed me in the worst way possible, and now he was paying the price. That was his problem, not mine. For the first time in my life, I felt free. Moral lessons. Trust, once broken, is hard to mend. Betrayal in relationships leaves deep wounds. And no matter how much love once existed, trust is the foundation that holds everything together. Always verify before making life-changing decisions. Olivia believed everything she heard without seeking the truth. In matters of love and commitment, it's important to get the full picture before making drastic decisions. Jealousy and lies can destroy lives. People with bad intentions, like Ethan's ex, can manipulate situations to ruin others. Always be cautious of those who seek to cause harm for their own gain. True love stands the test of trials. If Ethan and Olivia's love had been strong enough, they would have handled the situation differently. Real love requires patience, communication, and trust. Some endings are blessings in disguise. Walking away from a toxic or uncertain situation, no matter how painful, can lead to something better in the future. Sometimes what seems like a loss is actually a redirection to something greater. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gripping stories. Thanks.